Hello and welcome to the Maze of Thoughts podcast. Here are your co-host Trey 50 Daniel with
The pig, dude, the pig. Yeah, just sitting here slacking this week. I'm telling you, dude, you gotta carry the show this week.
gotta
Um,
carry it. Oh
yeah,
man, that's a tall order.
you have to be the carry. You gotta put me on your backpack, and you gotta carry me like a little fucking token or whatever.
Well, how was the week, man?
Well, so I've come to the conclusion that it's not cold as fuck. I'm just a big pussy when it comes to cold. Because during the afternoon and stuff, the weather it's like sort of like 15, 14 degrees and shit like that. So that's
Yeah,
not bad. I mean, it's cold, but it's not terrible. And when it's like six 6 degrees, 7 degrees, it's like when it's like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So it's normal, I'd say. But it's like I don't know, man. It's just I think it's the poor circulation. I think it's a problem of poor circulation that I have because of being a smoker for so long and shit, and basically not moving at all. Being a fat lazy pig just sitting on my ass all day. So yeah, I think that's the problem for the most part. What about you, dude?
yeah. I mean, my week was kind of boring. Just work and then played games and pretty much my week. I need to try to survive.
Yeah, same, pretty much, I guess. So I say that you have to carry this show because I didn't really like. I don't know, man. I this week I literally just turned everything off, and as you probably witnessed on a couple of streams, I've been playing Overwatch with a couple of people, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. I just turned off the social media shit, and I just said, you know what? I just want to enjoy some fucking Overwatch and just chill. Just fucking chill.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for work, I would probably just take time and just relax and enjoy stuff. But I gotta get up, gotta get going and work.
Yeah.
And I hit the gym every day, so that's kind of
Yeah. Yeah. My gym is different.
it's like your gym is lean up from the chair. Let's do like the sit ups in the chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do a lot of gym stuff when I was an alcoholic. I do a lot of lifting. You know, that's probably like when I did the most gym stuff. I actually was in a gym at some point, but my goal was to lose weight, and the people I was with, they wanted to sort of get toned and shit.
Well, yeah,
So
like they want to get bulk, and it's like I don't want
yeah,
to bulk.
and
Like I don't need to
no,
be any more bulk.
the
It's like
thing is, I didn't want to like. My goal was to lose weight, but I didn't lose any weight. I just gained more weight because I would just like lift and do that shit. I didn't end up like losing anything.
yeah, what happens with me is I lost over the past 2 years. I've lost like 30 pounds, but I've been trying to lose more, and basically I've hit a wall. But like at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I was doing a lot of cardio, and then now it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do a lot of lifting because apparently lifting will help burn more than cardio. Just doing cardio kind of stuff will.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool though, man.
Because the strength, like your muscles being like when you have more muscle, then your body kind of has to burn more fat just to kind of stay in the state that it is. It's kind of weird, but like the more you tone up, the more you get like a strength, build those muscles. Then it kind of your body kind of needs to burn more energy to stay in that state, like your muscular state. So then it kind of just burns more fat that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So we got two people here on MSP Waves. Hello, Gabriel and Crimson. How are you guys doing? I realize people can't really like reply immediately. They're kind of listening, so they have to listen.
Well, and there's a delay. We forget that there's a delay.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. So
that's why I find it funny whenever someone's responding to something like 7 seconds ago or like a minute ago. Even sometimes it's like Jesus.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
I mean,
you've been doing the Twitter shit. How's that going, dude? Like, how's it Twitter?
Twitter is a wild place.
I
I
assume
find
you get a lot of info from Twitter though, because I mean, even though it's a cesspool of shit, there's a lot of useful shit there as well. I would assume.
Yeah, like what I do is I get a lot of I get every bit of news from Twitter exclusively, pretty much, because like I'm not gonna watch mainstream media, and I'm not gonna there's a lot of just useless info out there. But like Twitter, I can get the people on Twitter can literally find something out to the detail, to the finest detail. So it's really cool to see like actual news coming out that way, and you get to see stuff like this past week with Elon Musk dunking on a sitting senator, like actually just roasting a senator. It was hilarious.
Right? Wasn't it you? And yeah, I think it was you that. I think it was like previous show or something. You were saying like government would possibly try to off Elon Musk because of what the things he say.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, he's speaking against government. Like, he's been saying, like, like, hey, like, the government sucks. Like, he's like he literally said the government is the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence. Like, literally said those words. And I was like, if he doesn't watch himself, he could be ended real soon. Because that's like almost like a threat to government officials. Like, I mean, just saying that they're calling them the biggest corporation with a monopoly on violence.
I mean, I kind of feel like I said the time we discussed this, obviously there's a clear thing where he's too much of a figure, too much of a public figure to just disappear. Then again,
you could have said that about Epstein, though.
Well, but Epstein was a piece of shit.
But he's sure, yeah.
Epstein was a piece of shit. He wasn't like a decent dude who was going against the government. Like Epstein was an absolute piece of shit. However the fuck he went, as long as he went, I think the world is doing a lot better without him.
Yeah, I mean, nobody misses him. Nobody misses Epstein. But yeah, probably Elon,
he's fucking right. Right-handed, whatever, however you say that shit. Fucking whatever her name is. I always forget her name. Fucking Gesundheit
Maxwell
bitch or whatever.
Yeah,
the fuck. Yeah,
like
bitch.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, whatever. Ghislaine.
Fucking wicked evil bitch.
Yeah, basically selling people. Yeah. Terrible.
I read somewhere. I don't remember.
I think she's gonna get off. Like the way they're acting, she's gonna get off like no charges, which is gonna be stupid.
Yeah, I bet she got off plenty of times with kids and shit. Cunts.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it was funny to see Elon, like, literally, he called a sitting senator, like, because it's a woman, that she was basically, like, saying, like, why doesn't Elon pay enough taxes? Like, why did he get Times, because he got Times Magazine Person of the Year. Maybe next year we can have the Times Magazine Person of the Year pay their fair share of taxes. And he was like, okay, Senator Karen.
So... Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about like how he doesn't pay taxes or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't understand the fucking single thing about that. Like, I think I've stressed enough times that I'm very stupid when it comes to finances and economy and shit. So I don't want to get too deep into that, but
Well, like from a high level, basically what it is like he pays a lot of money in taxes, but he doesn't pay a lot, like a huge percentage. Like that's what it is. It's like he's gonna pay like 15 million in tax, or 15 million or so in taxes, and he's like because his net worth, which he most of it's in his stock, right, in the companies. Um, that's most of his value. But because his net worth is like 800 billion or whatever it may be, um, because of that number, people think like, oh, he should be paying like 35% of his net worth, basically. But he's paying like $15 million in taxes, more than anyone in the whole U.S. basically.
okay. Well, yeah. Like I said, I don't understand a single fucking thing about that, so I'll just say, yeah,
Yeah, well,
I agree.
they kind of make it hard, because like the whole tax system, especially the U.S. I don't know how it is for EU, but like the U.S. tax code is like so weird because like you get tax breaks on certain things, you don't get tax breaks on other things. You have to really balance your checkbook exactly right if you want to get all the money that you can.
Hmm.
And as Ron says, yes, taxes are theft. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know about EU either because I live in one country of Europe and not the whole Europe. Probably Germany is like the one that controls
But I heard
all that
like,
shit. I don't fucking know.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, Germany, since they're basically the head of the EU, surely they control most of the money within the EU. But I would figure like I have heard some countries. I don't know how y'all's country does it, but that some of them are just a flat tax. If all it was a flat tax, I think I would be more acceptable to just like a flat tax, because this whole like weird tax system that we have is so convoluted and messy.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, I don't. What the fuck is a flat tax? Educate me, dude. I'm
so
learning
like
with the Maze of Thoughts podcast.
so like a flat tax would be like, so say I make if I made 50,000 in a year, then I would
Hmm.
just pay like 15% of that in tax, like just straight up 15%. That's it. But like the
Okay.
way our system is so convoluted. What we have, like, if you make 50,000, then you pay 15%. If you make 100,000, you pay 20%. If you make 125, then you pay 25%. And then if you then basically on up, it kind of ratchets up that way. Like the most you can pay is like 40%, basically.
Yeah, I don't know, but I remember like when I looked up, I think I was like looking up shit for starting a business or something. 'Cause I've always had in mind like starting a little bit of a business. I actually had an idea like a couple of years ago, like in 2018 or some shit, about how esports got really big. It's like a little bit of a
Yeah.
big lore. So here's esports got a little really big, but one of the things that a lot of the people don't really expect when they go into esports is like basically the social thing about it and the fucking like stardom, if you will, of esports, because you gotta understand these are like nerd kids sitting in their
Like
fucking
15-year-olds that just
basements,
become
and all
famous.
they do
Yeah.
is play video games, and all they do is focus on one specific video game because that's how they get good at it. How they get to the top ranks and shit. And then all of a sudden they go from like sitting in their fucking bedroom or basement or whatever to just going on stage with like people looking at them, and fucking thousands upon thousands of people looking at them on live streams and shit. It's really stressful. And another thing was the internet etiquette through video games and shit, which is kind of like something that I feel like a lot of people don't really value, I think. And my idea was to create sort of a place that you could sort of gather these people, these kids and adults and everything, and you could keep them safe to an extent, and you can sort of like just educate them to have etiquette and try to educate them to become better at the games, and dedicate more to the games and prepare
like the
them
coaches
if they
and
ever
stuff.
became like
Yeah.
an esports player or some shit. Prepare them for like the like being on stage and shit with like psychiatrists and psychologists and all that shit. Dude, I had all the whole fucking thing planned, but it's one of those things like I don't, even though in my mind I feel like that shit could be profitable, I don't think it you know, if I was to present a project like that to someone to invest, I don't think it would do that good.
I mean, like, so the problem would be you would need some initial funding, and you would need obviously an already sort of established example of it. So what one example is for in the U.S. here, we have FaZe Clan, and FaZe Clan is going to be going public. I'm actually investing in the company that they're merging with. Um,
Isn't FaZe Clan the pieces of shit who fucking got like the scam to save the kids going on and shit?
well, I mean, I think that was some people from FaZe Clan, but that wasn't like FaZe
I
Clan
mean,
themselves doing it.
if
But
the
yeah, I mean, it's
management
basically the
allows
same.
for that shit, there's a big
Yeah,
problem going on there, in my opinion.
yeah, but they're the biggest clan probably in the like biggest well, esports team probably in the U.S. or well, I mean, besides Optic, I guess between FaZe and Optic, they're basically the two biggest esports organizations in the U.S. And so, I'm thinking, well, they're probably gonna take off because they have a lot of room to grow because they can buy up other teams in other games. Right now, they're mostly just Call of Duty and I think maybe Valorant, but that's pretty much it. I think they can expand to other esports and but like that's what you would need. You would need to like, okay, I already have a team, have my little setup, and then we can kind of like gain investment from like that. And you kind of have to a lot of times with the way that works. If you want to get any additional funding or additional money, you already have to have something that's basically making you money. It's a weird thing because like you have to make money first to then get more money. It's weird, but that's
Well,
how
yeah, I've
people
always
work.
heard you gotta
They're like,
invest money to
hey,
make money.
yeah, that's essentially it. Is like if you spend the money and you get the program up and running, like if you had an esports organization that was running, then you would be able to then prove to people, say, hey, here's my organization, here's what we're doing, this is the whole business plan, and then then people would invest in you.
So speaking of that, speaking of jobs and shit, so was it you that published something or was it somebody else? Fucking Odyssey, I think it was Bonehead that I replied to a tweet or some shit, and Odyssey posted something like, oh, we got like we're looking for autists and shit to work for us, and we got hot babes and whatnot. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I went through the tweets and shit, and there's a lot of people that didn't really find that shit funny, but some tweets actually were relevant in my opinion because they were talking about how just like these companies are looking for seniors immediately, and like, what about the small guys? Like that company's, I don't think that company's developed yet as like a company that's, a company like Google or YouTube or
Well,
fucking,
the,
those companies. And of course they're trying to be decentralized to an extent, I
but they're
think.
not.
But
They're
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 not,
not.
yeah. But
Yeah. So
still,
like
it's one of those
like
things like I've been affected by this shit my whole life to an extent. When I was 18 years old, again, big lore time. When I was 18 years old or 17 years old or some shit like that, basically I was helped by a person who's like a DJ on my radio and shit at the time, and she was helping me do a resume because I was 17 years old. I had no fucking idea how to do a resume. And she was helping me and shit. And then she gave my resume, because I had just finished the electricity course. She gave my resume to her dad, who gave the resume to the company he was working in. And the guys that are responsible for that shit, recruiting and whatnot, they were like, oh, this guy has no experience. And she told me that her dad told the guys, well, if you don't provide any experience to this guy, how is he gonna get any fucking experience? It's true. Like, how, that's why I'm literally 30 years old, about to be 31, and I have no fucking work experience outside of things I've done by my own initiative, because no fucking company was willing to hire me. And it's like, okay, well, how do you expect people to be seniors if you don't even allow them to be juniors or whatever the fuck it is? I just fucking hate that shit.
Yeah, it's worse in like development, like web dev, stuff like programming stuff. Basically, like if you graduate and then it'll say like a junior job, and then it'll say like 5 years experience minimum, and I'm like, what?
Right. Yeah.
Luckily I was able to look up, and I found something that was like, okay, it met what experience I had already, and I just I have recently changed because I wanted to change and get a pay bump, because to keep up with everything, gonna have 2 kids, so I gotta keep up with it. But yeah, so like as far as it goes, like I noticed even in retail, like I know, like whenever I was first trying to get a job, like I was trying to get a job at 18, and essentially I tried to apply for some retail jobs, and they said like you have to have retail experience, and I'm like, okay, well, this is an entry level job, being a freaking cashier. How are you not like? How are you not hiring me right now?
Yeah.
And I think part of it is, it depends on the job market. Like I think sometimes they don't care about their requirements as much.
Funny?
They just post
It's
them the
also
same.
like they also don't want to hire old people. Like old people, it's like, oh, they're old, dude. They're gonna retire soon or some shit. When I say old, I mean like people at their 50s or something. It's like they got a lot of experience working. Maybe they have like fucking 10 years in a company and shit. But then they go to find a job because they got fired or some shit, or they just looking for something else, and they're like, oh, 50 years old. Yeah, we're looking for someone young. Okay, we're looking for someone young with experience. It's like, well, okay, but you're not willing to give them any fucking experience to the young people, but you're also not willing to, like, what?
Yeah, they want like the 25-year-old person,
man,
who basically just worked retail jobs, and that's pretty much it. It's like, hey, we have a 25-year-old who's only worked retail. They have like 8 years experience in retail, and then that's what we want. Not someone 50 who's kind of basically retired themselves, or someone who's just coming into the job market like 18 or whatever. Like it's nuts. Like I wish they would just drop all of that requirement nonsense and just be like, okay, can this person do the job? Like I wish that would be more of like, talk to the person. Like I don't know. It's because companies, I've noticed it increasingly, that a lot of companies are just, they don't have human, like people don't run them like there are humans in the company, basically. Like they don't think of like, okay, this employee is a human, and let's treat them like such. It's like, this is worker number 700, and let's just okay, yeah, you've got to work 60 hours this week. We don't care. And by the way, if you're like half a second late, we're gonna fire you. It doesn't matter. Those kind of things. Like they just get on a. They don't care about like how people are or anything. Like it's just complete disregard for people, is like, and how who they are and what they're going through or anything.
I mean, okay, we have to be fair in that regards, because I mean they're, if it's like a big company or a bigger company, they probably have a lot of people as candidates applying for that shit. So it's kind of understandable how like you can't just, it's like a streamer with a big community. You can't really like, you're gonna say, oh, I love you guys, oh my god, guys, I love you guys, but at the end of the day, you don't really love them. It's like, it's just what's it called, a para fucking whatever relationship or some shit like that.
Yeah, parasocial.
Parasocial relationships. Yeah. So it's kind of the same way to an extent. I mean, people can't really just sort of like it's a lot of people they have to deal with, so I kind of understand, but I just wish they gave an opportunity to younger people to fucking do the thing. And like one point I applied for this job as a maintenance electrician, and the person took me across the factory and shit, showing me stuff and asking me questions, and I was like, yes, and most of my answers were correct, and at the end of the day I didn't get the fucking job. You know, it's like, it's really disheartening, and it's really, it just puts you in a bad fucking mood, and it's just like, man, really? So like, I'm trying hard for what? Like, fuck that, you know? Like, it's just
Well, I
really
think that
really frustrating.
that's kind of what like black pills a lot of people, but for me, I don't I think that there's a lot of good things to kind of be about like today's age, because like there's a lot of people who can kind of make their own work, which is really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you could say YouTuber, but even stuff like if I wanted to, obviously I'm not in the financial position to do so. But if I were like 18 years old and I just knew how to code, I would just make my own thing, and then I could, if I knew what I could make that would sell, then that would be the market that I would target, and I would be able to have a product that people would actually buy, and then I wouldn't have to answer to anyone basically. Um, that's kind of my strategy. My long term strategy is I definitely want to get out of sort of like the typical workforce and just have some run my own thing. I know a lot of people want to do that kind of thing, or at least they think they do, but they don't necessarily like know how to go about it or what to do. But I kind of have a plan, and I kind of have some ideas for things that I would want to do. But it's going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to need to be in a lot of better financial position, and
Yeah.
hopefully crypto will help with that. So.
I've been starting to realize that well, I've realized this before, but this thing of content creation and shit, this is all about being social, honestly. Like, it doesn't matter your fucking quality, dude. As long as you have some social skills, you're good to go, to be honest, which is where I lack the most, is in fucking being social. So that's the big problem. But in my honest opinion, I think that's about it. Like, I see so many channels that are very mediocre, and they've got like tons of viewers and shit, or not even tons, but they got some relatively decent amount of viewers and shit, or listeners or whatever. But it's one of those things. If you're not social, if you're not like fucking sitting there and buttering up people all the fucking time, like, yo, dude, yeah, they don't give a fuck about you. And it's one of the reasons why I hate the fucking like follows for follows and all that bullshit. It's like, yeah, dude, I follow you, but what's the point? Because you're not following me back because you care about my shit. You're following me back because I followed you, so you feel like sort of obligated to do so. It's all like legitimate.
Yeah, and I've done like I can't lie and say that I haven't tried to do that at any point. Like, because there was one time it was like, hey, well, I want to get a few more followers, and I'll follow this person, and they'll follow me, and that'll kind of be the thing. But later on, I realized like, okay, well, this isn't something organic, and it's not gonna lead to these people actually caring what I have to say, because at the end of the day, they're just going to follow me back, just because, like you said, like a guilt thing. And then a lot of people, whenever they would follow me back or whatever, then I would realize that they would unfollow me later. So it's like, okay, well, that didn't matter at all. I actually lost a person, and I'm following someone that I don't even care about at this point. So I'm not going to follow people that I don't want to follow, and I don't expect anyone to follow me unless they care what I have to say. Basically, that's
Yeah.
where I'm at now.
Yeah, I've noticed that shit happens a lot with like, well, Vim is one of those. I've noticed that I've only had people join my like, people would come to my channel when I joined the platform, and I'm pretty sure why they did that is because they want me to go check their channel and follow them. But like, dude, if I don't care about your content, if I don't think your personality is entertaining enough for me to watch you, I'm not going to do that. I watch you, and I don't have problems with that. You know, it's kind of a mutual thing, to be honest. You know, you watch me, I watch you, but it's different when, like, if somebody just joins your channel and like, hello, here's an upvote, and then they fuck off. They don't say a goddamn thing. They don't interact with you. They don't do anything. It's like, kind of like, well, what's the point then? Like, you expect me to go to your channel and either do the same thing or sit there and chat with you when you don't do it for me? Like, come on, man. We gotta be a little bit altruistic here as well. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, like you gotta reciprocate. Like if you like, it's just like you know, there's a lot of people. I mean, I don't necessarily get a lot of.
Beginning, but when I started to realize the truth, what I was witnessing, I stopped doing it. I was just like, you know, I don't want to be part of this.
Well, I like a lot of times I'll do it. Not necessarily expecting someone to. There's some people who I follow on Twitch, and sometimes I just watch their stream, and I don't necessarily like they don't come watch me all the time. So there's not like it doesn't have a huge benefit for me, but you know, I'm just there. I like some of what they're saying and some of what their content is.
What? Yeah.
But then, you know, there is the component that I am hoping that they would you know, at least recommend me to the, you know, to their followers too, because like, I mean, I'm not saying that that's the exclusive reason that I'm there, but I do, you know, like we're in the same space, I guess the same ideas. We align a lot in our ideas, so that's what I'm hoping. Like, hey, you know, they'll be like, hey, this guy says a lot of same things we do, and you know, why don't you go like check him out? And sometimes people shout me out, and that's pretty cool when they do that kind of stuff. But it's all it's more organic because I'm just trying to be there. I'm just trying to watch the stream, and then they just happen to shout me out. I don't like ask for like, hey, can you shout me out? No, I just come there. I watch the stream sometimes, and sometimes people shout me out because they you know, like, hey, this guy, he's always in our chat. He's always cool. He streams too, or whatever, that kind of thing. You know, it's really organic that way, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. But I just don't like. Like, if you have something in common with the person, if you're sitting there watching the person, and there's something in common with them and you and shit, I understand that. But I'm not going to be sitting there with a fucking tab open. I told you I hate a fuck ton of tabs open. My OCD just kicks in and it tells me like, nope, no.
Oh, you would hate my screen. You would hate my screen.
I probably would, dude. I probably would. Like, I have
anxiety about closing them.
More than 4 tabs, and like I lose it. I fucking lose
I have
shit.
20. I have easily 20 open right now.
Holy shit.
If that makes you...
It probably would fuck up my computer if I had that many tabs open as well. I mean, I only have like 16 gigs of RAM, so it probably would have something to do with it as well. So, but it's, you know, I just don't want to waste resources, if you will.
Yeah.
I just don't want to waste resources for something I'm not going to watch. I don't like the same way. I want people to behave like that for me as well. Like, I don't want you to be sitting there and just like watching me if you don't give a fuck about my content or my personality or anything. I don't give a fuck if I have 0 people listening or watching to a stream I'm doing. But if you are going to watch, at least be like legitimate about it, and don't like pretend to be there because you're there for me or whatever, when the whole goal you're there for is because you want me to go check your shit out or something like that. I don't like that. It feels very fake to me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like that, but that's just, you know, I guess
We can collaborate in different
Yeah.
ways, you know, like maybe we can play a game together or some shit, like we can do like a squad
Well,
stream
I
or whatever
wasn't.
they
I wasn't
call it,
saying that about
you
like
know.
your stuff. There are some other people. So like, sort of people who talk about like principles of like liberty and freedom. You know, these kind of things, and like I don't necessarily like everything that they do, but I like some of the stuff that they do. And so what I'm saying is that like I'll go watch them, and I like what they're doing, but it's also like sometimes they just happen to say like, hey, he's awesome, go check him out. It's more like I'm not doing it necessarily just like I'm gonna go in here and they're gonna say, hey, go check out Trey. Like that's not what I'm expecting, but it just happens sometimes. But it is nice when that happens. It is good whenever like for whenever people kind of recognize like, hey, this person agrees with a lot of what we're saying. We like this person. Like, go check them out.
Yeah.
So it's not the primary reason. It's always like a sort of like a secondary like thing that they could do. So I guess that's the way I'm putting it.
Yeah, it's
But
fair
I mean,
enough.
like even with your stream, like I'm not going there so you say like, yeah, go check out Dre. No, I mean I'm going there to watch you usually rage at Overwatch. Um, it's
It happens a lot. Yeah. But
uh
I don't, dude, to an extent, I don't like being like that because my rage
yeah.
is not, my rage is not like, you know, funny rage or I'm just raging because memes and lols. My rage is legit, and I hate being like that because, like, I have this fucking unrealistic expectation or unrealistic method or like vision of my skills and whatever, and I have this unrealistic necessity to beat everyone that I fucking face. And if I don't beat them, it's because I'm the worst fucking player in the world and I just suck ass. And it's just like it for some other reason, that's how I behave. Maybe that has to do with like growing up and never being told like, oh yo, you're good and shit, like always being sort of put down and stuff. Like if I was supported
Yeah,
as
I
a
mean,
musician growing up,
like,
I feel like that would have been better.
yeah, I mean, I can relate with that because I feel the same way. Like if I play a game, I better win, and I like maybe I haven't been streaming as much multiplayer gameplay like stuff lately, so I haven't really raged. But sometimes I get like that. Honestly, there was a
Oh, but
period of time.
you play first person shooters with a controller against people that are using a mouse and keyboard. I mean,
Well,
you're
no,
at
no.
a
Whenever
massive
like I
disadvantage
usually
there.
whenever I play, usually I make it. I play the controller only lobbies usually. So a lot of
That's a
games are
thing.
now are locking. Well, a lot of games are locking it to input now. So like it's not just. It depends. Like you can open it to just crossplay, or it can just be input based. So technically, you could play against PC players or whatever, but you could only play against controller players in certain games.
Hmm.
Kind of like with Halo, what I'm doing. Like I can pick to only do controller lobbies, and that's what I've been doing. But yeah, I mean, but regardless, like I am hyper competitive in that sense, and it does make me mad whenever I'm not winning, and not when I'm not stomping the other team. But and I used to have it really bad. I would actually like bang my fist on the desk and be real upset about it. But
Did you ever break something?
I've never broken anything. Well,
I don't understand people who do
I
that.
didn't. I've never broken anything intentionally. Like I just dropped my controller once, and like I didn't even like throw it
Oh,
down or
that's
anything.
fair.
But
That's
I
fair. No,
dropped
that's.
it, and then it just
No, I'm
ended up
saying like
breaking.
intentionally. You're playing the
No, no,
game and
no,
you get
no,
so angry that you intentionally fucking like break
no.
something.
I
Like
like
those dudes that like kick fucking screens, kick their
No,
computers, and
no.
fucking
I paid
slam
too
their
much for this stuff.
keyboards.
I paid too much for this stuff. Like I realized the value
I
of
know,
it. So
right?
yeah, it's like this is your stuff I paid for, so I'm not gonna break it. But like yeah, I have had it where I drop a controller and I'm just like, oh man, I'm done, and I drop the controller and then it just kind of breaks. And but like other than that, it's like I haven't I haven't like spiked the controller or anything.
Like, even though the shit I have is fucking mediocre and shit, I still cherish it. I still appreciate it. Like, I'm not just gonna sort of start slamming shit and kicking things around and all that shit. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like
It doesn't make
when
any
you're,
sense. It's completely irrational, and clearly it's something like I think there's clearly something wrong with those people, but they need they're gonna get some help and work it out. I mean, there's even been streamers banned. There was one streamer banned because he hit his wife came in there with the baby or something like that,
oh
and
yeah, I remember that.
yeah, something like he hit her and the baby too, both or something like that, because they were trying to mess with this game and trying to ask him for like she was really just asking him for help, like, hey, can you help me with this, and or something like that. And then he just like got mad. He was like, no, you messed up my game. And he just like,
Run through a
why, dude?
bologna sandwich at his TV playing Halo. I'm assuming that's when he was young. So his friend didn't play for years. You convinced him to come back on, and he whooped his ass. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, if like my brother did that before, like he hadn't played like COD in years, and then we like 1v1, and then he just beat me, and I was like, oh man, so mad. Like I was like, I want to hit you in the face right now.
Yeah, Ron was 22. Okay, yeah, little buck, little young buck Ron.
But yeah, like
I
I
remember
mean,
playing like football
but
games, soccer for you guys, and back way back before the internet, on consoles and shit, would play games like split screen, or well, football games, it was only one field and you just see everything. Both people would see the same thing. But fighting games as well, I remember playing a lot of fighting games like Tekken and Dragon Ball Budokai and shit like that. And yeah, I mean, we would get a little bit angry at each other, but it wasn't like to the point of throwing shit around and breaking stuff. Again, like, people who do that,
honestly,
there's
like
something internally wrong there, in my opinion.
like people sitting on the couch together, I think that like that's like you can get upset at someone, but like there's no way you're gonna be as mad as like a lot of people who play online and they just grind it out all day. They
Well,
end up
because
like
you're already friends, like on the internet, most people are fucking like strangers, and you don't give a shit about strangers, even though we should. One thing I was thinking about today, actually, I don't know, I guess we could talk about it, is how do you guys have mandatory like service, like military service over there in America?
no, it's all voluntary.
Okay, yeah, same thing here. It's been,
I mean,
I think
unless the draft is instituted, like
the
only
year,
if there's like if there was another world war, then yeah, I might get drafted
yeah,
into
okay,
the
so
war.
you're in like a reserve or some shit that they call it.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah, I think it's the same thing for like here. So when I turned 18, it's like, I think it was when I turned 17 or 18, it stopped being mandatory. Up to that point, it was mandatory. You still have to go there and sort of like do a little thing or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I think military service, for an extent, should be mandatory, because I think it would improve the kids a little bit nowadays, because like a lot of them lack a lot of discipline, and I feel like because they don't have it at home, they're not given it at home, I think they would benefit from a little discipline over through the thing of like military service and shit. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying because you're a military person, if you go to military service, you're like a fucking saint or anything like that. A lot of people who are military services individuals, or I just completely ruined that fucking sentence, but who gives a shit? But it's not like people who do that, you know, they're like saints or anything. A lot of them have lost their minds and shit, relationships and whatever. And, you know, they just sort of went nuts and snapped. But I really think, you know, I believe,
I guess,
I would have benefited from obligatory or mandatory military service myself. But I was doing a course at a time and I was like, you know, I just want to finish the course and shit, and then we'll see. You know, I was also fat already, so that's kind of like
can't get through the PT.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it may be different for Portugal, but like for here, in the US, I don't think that it would benefit them because our current military, it wouldn't have. It's not like the military of old. Like they would break you in and basically, you know, try to mold you into a finely tuned machine, basically. The current military, if you
Well,
don't like what the
so
general says or whatever, you can be offended, and then you can basically do this whole
well,
thing of like
exactly, because it's no longer mandatory, so they have to make it, you know, bearable so that people will fucking volunteer. 'Cause if it's like unbearable, no one's gonna want to volunteer, you know, so they have to fucking make that shit bearable.
Yeah, but I think even if it was like in the current climate, like the
No, I don't
current
think
the
so.
state of the world,
I don't think
I
so.
don't think you.
If it was
I,
if it was mandatory, I don't think it would be like that at all.
Trust me, I've like I've heard of what some you know, basically what is it, like commanders or whatever rank they are, basically the higher ups in the military, like if somebody, whoever would be your who you'd report to, a lot of them would say things that would definitely get them canceled completely at this point. They say
But
a
that's what I'm
lot of,
saying. That's what
but
I'm
like
saying. It's
that.
because it's like, because it's not mandatory. You can't just be free to do whatever the fuck you want. Because if it was mandatory, a lot of shit that has happened in the last few years, in my opinion, anyways, it would have been different, in my opinion. Because like people would have gone through mandatory military service, and they would have been, like you said, broken or some shit. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because like it hasn't been mandatory for a good amount of years at this point. People just been sort of like fucking whatever, dude. You know, whatever, fuck it. So they have to at least, you know, make it a little bit bearable for the snowflakes, you know,
Yeah.
that want to do military service. I think it would benefit people. I mean, I don't know how your service is, but like over here, people can take courses. They get paid. Like a lot of people took courses. They went for military service and they took courses and they came out and they got a job because they took those courses. And just the fact you did military service improves your chance of getting a job because people value that shit.
Yeah, I mean, some people like did electrical work for the military, and then they ended up going and being an electrician after they got out of the military. So there's a lot of like benefits to that kind of stuff, and it would help them. I think it would be a benefit for a lot of people, but I also think that there are some people that it would actually be probably a negative for. But I think overall, the grand majority of the populace, it would probably be a net positive for them, because I mean it would just round them out and make them a little bit more of a stable human being. Because then they would realize that, like, okay, things are serious, and I have to be able to deal with a lot of problems, and I have to be able to deal with some really harsh realities of like the fact that like people could die around me if I do stupid things. So
Yeah,
it
it's
would
fucking
definitely
wake
put
up
them in a,
call.
Yeah, I mean, a huge wake up call for them.
You know, sort of make them like respect higher ranks and shit. You know, but it
Yeah, I
also
mean,
depends a lot on the education they have and shit. Like, today I was watching an Overwatch streamer and somebody like they were just going fucking bananas in voice chat, like yelling and you know, it's being completely obnoxious. And somebody said, "Who raises these people?" And the problem is no one. That's the problem. No one fucking
well,
raises these people. That's a fucking issue.
I mean, maybe the TV. I mean, I know, like, I think my generation was the TV generation. Like, we were sat in front of a TV, you can
Yeah,
watch the TV, and maybe you play games sometimes, but then like my parents would get mad about me playing games
yeah, but it
for
was mostly
more than an
offline shit.
hour. Well, I guess when I became a teenager, that was all online stuff.
I
So
didn't even.
yeah,
I
a lot of
didn't.
it's
I didn't have internet until it was like 2003 or four, something like that. So,
oh yeah,
and
well,
even then, it was fucking. It was
dial up, yeah.
dial up,
Uh,
and it was a limit. There was a limit of like 1 gig or some shit for transfers. So playing Counter Strike and playing um, World of Warcraft and
and
using
then
MSN
the
Messenger, I
fall.
was always on the edge of my seat, like, oh, dude. And then I download music as well. If I was to download a fucking movie, it was the end of it. So like you download a
You used
movie, you're
you used
fucking
LimeWire, didn't you?
screwed. And then you'd have to pay like double because you used a like if you just use a little bit of data more than the fucking 1 gig, you'd be fucked because it would be like almost double, which was like ridiculous. But that's how it kind of it's kind of it was until 2008 when the unlimited bandwidth and all that shit came along. But it was DSL. I've had DSL internet until literally this year. So yeah.
Yeah, so like whenever I was younger, yeah, we had DSL for a while, and then then once we got broadband, that was kind of whatever around the time I was becoming a teenager. So that was where a lot of times I've spent my time online. I was basically completely online, whether it be in social media or on video games or whatever else, like just trying not to. I mean, yeah, I did some stuff like I would go to the football games sometimes and stuff like that for my high school. But other than that, it was kind of. But I really think that a lot of it's either the internet or just TV raising these people. And I mean, my parents were much of that generation because they basically said like, "Hey, I don't want to do a lot of this parenting, so I'm just going to outsource it to the TV or internet or whatever, and just kind of let you go and not really." And then as far as my parents go, they were, they parented in other ways, but a lot of times, like when it came down to it, they would rather not deal with me. So that's why I would say that most of the time it would end up being like the internet or TV that basically influenced me more than anything.
Yeah, I can relate to that because my grandfather wasn't available, so I can relate to that. Not that I mean he was a trucker for most of his life, so it's basically it's the same thing as being an absent parent to an extent,
Yeah.
you know. Sometimes I'd go with him and shit, but yeah.
I mean,
Um,
like my parents were around, but a lot of times what it was is like, hey, uh, like they weren't like like I would say that I am with like my son. It's like he comes home from school. I ask him, what do you do at school? Talk to him for a minute. Play with him, see what's going on. But like my parents were just like, "Hey, how was school?" And then like if I didn't answer, then they'd be mad. But then I'd be like, "Yeah, it went." And they'd be like, "Okay." I'll just go to my room and do whatever. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be away, but
I've uh, I've been I've been edgy my whole life basically, and I literally just like the old man would ask the same thing, like how was school or how was the course or whatever the fuck, and he was like, dude, just don't fucking talk to me, dude. God damn it, let me be, dude. Fucking hell.
like, why are you asking me questions? God, it's so
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
get out of here,
shut
dude.
up.
Just let me play
Shut up, old
games
man.
and watch TV, dude. Yeah, but I mean, we had good shit when we were growing up on TV, you know, like what is it? Kenshi, um, with like the samurai dude anime thing. We
I
had
don't
Dragon
remember that.
Ball. We had maybe it was different for you guys in America, but I mean, you had Dragon Ball. I believe
Yeah,
you
we
had
had Dragon
Dragon Ball at the
Ball,
same time we did.
Gundam, Dragon Ball,
I mean, I don't
Gundam.
remember Gundam, to be honest.
A,
I
a
don't
lot of
think.
the stuff I watched was like, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those kind of things. A lot of those things. Let's see what else.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
oh
I remember Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah,
The
that was I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever.
There
And
was a
I got a
fucking
lot of
time with Yu-Gi-Oh that it was this plague of counterfeit fucking cards of Yu-Gi-Oh,
oh,
dude.
yes. Dude,
And
I would go to the swap meet, like the local swap meet, and basically they would have these fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and because me being the sort of undated kid that I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna buy more Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like this guy has them for steel, like they're really cheap, and it's like, oh, there's a Blue Eyes, and like you buy it, and it's like this cheapo crap, and I thought it was the coolest thing because they were even shinier than the normal cards. Didn't
yeah,
even think about it.
I use a lot of
I don't even,
Yu-Gi-Oh cards to I use a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards to make filters for smoking joints and stuff. When I do smoke joints, I don't do it often, but if I do smoke joints, I use usually Yu-Gi-Oh cards to make filters. So there is a use to them, I guess. But
makes
yeah,
sense.
Pokemon cards. I was a Magic the Gathering guy myself, as I told you like yesterday or something. So I never really played much Pokemon. Like the Pokemon cards never really like I was never like you know, like I never really cared about Pokemon. Like the cards never really appealed to me, I guess.
I liked Pokemon because like around the time basically the first movie came out in America, that was like I'm like 5 or 6 years old or whatever, and then that movie comes out and I was like, oh, this is so cool, Pokemon, and I was
Don't get
I'll
me
tell
wrong. I was
like
hooked
that.
on Pokemon games for the Game Boy. Okay, but
See,
the
I
cards
didn't
just
get
I didn't
the
care.
Game Boy. I didn't get the Game Boy games, but I did get some Pokemon cards. So that's I guess that's what's different. Like my parents didn't want to like get me like they thought like the minimal amount of video game like they didn't mind me playing some video games, but it was like, hey, you get like an hour, that's it, like that's all you should play, in a day. Like you should only get an hour, that's it.
Well,
Like it didn't matter.
the thing is also
They,
school was different during that time. At least for me here, you know, like school was strict. It wasn't like you could do whatever the fuck. When there was this one video that surfaced the internet here in Portugal, where it was this kid. The teacher took the phone away from her, and she just went bananas and slapped the teacher and took the phone away from the teacher. And it's like everyone lost their minds. I lost my mind as well because I was like, "How is this possible?" Huh? Like, are you kidding me? There's no way. If I was a teacher, I'd fucking slap the shit out of that student with the back of my hand. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You dumb bitch. You know? Because I would have never treated any sort of teacher like that. You know? Because it's just crazy. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of what kids do nowadays, it just doesn't make sense. Like I would have never like people like standing up and like literally getting in like a elderly person's face and just like screaming at them. And I'm like, if I would have done that, like I would have got I would have gotten my butt like beat to hell and back, like literally beat to hell and back if I had done that whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
And like these kids just think that they could do it just fine. Like they just get up in some old person's face and they're
But
like, "You stupid old,"
you
just
know who
like
I
go on a
blame
tirade.
though? Like, I've been starting to realize I blame our generation for a lot of the shit that the kids are doing nowadays. Because we gotta understand, like, it's our generation, Gen Y, Gen X, that kind of or paved the way for Gen Z to an extent. Now, I'm not saying I blame me or I blame you, but I blame our generation, because our generation is the one that started like sort of fucking going like, oh, respect, oh, that joke is too much. You can't make a joke at somebody's expense because they're fat and they might be, offended. It's like, dude, let them make a fucking joke. I want to laugh at my own expense. Like, shut the fuck up, you snowflake dipshit.
Like the way that I view it is that there was sort of this reaction, and I think it was an overreaction. So like I know like I got bullied in high school, so like I and a lot of times I just kind of took it, partly because the one time that I did stand up, my parents basically shamed me for it because they were like, hey, you like if someone's doing something to you, that's not not the Christian thing to do. That's not the right thing to do, or whatever. Like to retaliate. And now I kind of I don't agree with that. I clearly didn't agree with that then, and I definitely don't agree with that now. But it was. I think that some of those people actually needed people to like if someone is being bullied constantly and nobody's looking out for them, they did need some help. But then we kind of took it too far of just like, okay, well now we need to make everything safe and everything needs to be toned down and everything needs to be watered down, because if we offend one person, then that's going to be the end of it, right? But it was this movement after some people had a really bad time and it was actually bad for them, and they wanted to help these people, but they didn't go about it the right way. I think either just leaving it alone or actually trying to help these people individually. A lot of times it just takes just people just standing up and saying like, hey, don't don't be bullying that kid. But a lot of people are just too afraid to do something like that. So having a lot of these rules, basically making it shoehorning in this whole thing of like don't offend anyone, is a lot easier. It makes it easier because then you don't have to. It outsources it. You don't have to worry about it. It's a rule now. If you don't follow the rule, then you get in trouble.
I don't think it's easier because there's too much shit and a lot
Oh,
of people like
it's
dark
easier for the
humor.
individual. It's easier for like
That's
someone to.
debatable. That's debatable. It's easier for snowflakes and pussies. It's not easier for people like jokes and people like I mean,
No,
I'm
no.
not.
What I'm saying is it instead of it's easier for me to say like, hey, let's not offend this kid than it is to say like, hey, let's just help this kid stop being bullied. I guess like if you were to stand up and say, hey, don't pick on that kid just because just because he's shorter than you, or something like that. Then if you were to do that and just stand up for the kid, and that would be that right there, and the kid would have a better life. But instead, it's like, hey, we need to make this whole not bullying rule at school. All these anti-bullying campaigns, and we need to work on this kind of stuff. And no,
Yeah,
be nice.
look where the no bullying thing took the world. I'm not saying I'm not saying like bully to the extreme extent or some shit like that, but I'm saying like maybe a little bit of bullying, just so that kids fucking put their feet on earth and realize they're not like fucking, these immeasurable necessary individuals for the universe to run, I'd say like a little bit, just a little bit, just a smidge, so they realize, that you're human as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some kids who like literally think that the world revolves around them, and they just think that they can just get away with whatever.
Well, no
And these
shit, because they get away with everything nowadays, like They participate in something, they get a fucking trophy. They fucking take a piss in front of people. They're like, whoa, very brave. You're showing your dick to people. That's so brave of you. Nice. Here's a medal. It's like, you know, come on, man. What happened to like competition and trying to be like, if everyone is equal, no one's going to be better. And that's not healthy at all, because if everyone is equal, it's going to sort of like take away the necessity for someone to try and be better than someone else, which is a good thing. Competition is good. It's good for companies. It's good for it's good for everything, in my opinion. You know, like, of course, too much competition, the way we kind of play multiplayer games and shit, that's a little bit unhealthy, because it's like, that's not how you should approach it. But competition is definitely good.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like playing basketball. So like I played basketball in high school. Um, I was better at running cross country. You know, I got top 50 in our state competition whenever I ran in cross country. Um, but whenever I was playing basketball, you know, I wasn't the best player on the team, but I kept working at it, and I was trying to compete against all the other players. And in my senior year, which was the first year that I was actually going to play on the varsity team, which is basically the way it works. I don't know if you know, I don't know how they have the system over there in Portugal, but um, the system in the U.S. is basically you can have two different teams. It's two-tiered teams for the upper and lower classmen. So like the seniors, which would be the junior and senior of your class. Basically, the 17 and 18-year-olds can play on a team together, and then the 15 and 16-year-olds can play on a team together.
Yeah, same thing works.
But some people would be 15 and they would get moved up to the varsity team already. They would basically be playing on the 17 and 18-year-old team already. And then there were other people like me. I didn't get to play on the senior team, on the varsity team until I was about to graduate high school. And what I did, I finally. I finally made it there. I was going to play on varsity team, and I busted my butt in training. I was like basically the second best player in the training. I mean, not to brag, in our team. But then the football players came, and the football players came over to basketball. Basically, they finished up their football season. They were coming over to basketball, and they just got to take those spots away from everybody. Like they just got to they didn't have to earn anything. They basically just got told, the coach, because he liked the football players, he said, okay, this is our starting lineup. This guy, this guy, this, all these guys are going to be starting, and they basically were all the football players that basically just come over. They didn't do all the training that we did in the off time. They didn't even come to the practices that we had open for them when they could come. And then they just basically got to have a free in, and it was basically just like a spit in my face. And it didn't make me want to be better, and it didn't help me compete, because at that point I'm just getting no playing time. Like the coach didn't put me in at all. He didn't care. This coach was very preferential based on how much money your parents would donate or whatever to the program, all those kind of things. It was a lot of politics, and it took a lot of the competition out of the sport. And I basically just, at that point, with no competition, since I couldn't even compete to play on the team, I just decided, not to sound like a quitter, but at that point I really had no recourse, and I just kind of quit. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna quit, and I'm gonna go find a job and work that. And I did do cross country, finished up that. I did track as well. I didn't quit those, but I did quit basketball just because I basically had no way to compete, and it was really demoralizing. Like to sit there and think about, like, hey, this coach just really doesn't like me. He doesn't want me to start. He doesn't want me to play. And then and it was actually true, because he was playing favorites against us. So it was just one of those things. Like I don't even want to compete anymore. So it really, I think that a lot of those kind of things will demoralize like our generation, and I think there's a lot of experiences that basically have just taught our generation to say like, okay, there's no way, just give up because it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. Competition is necessary, man. Like animals compete all the fucking time for shit, you know? Like they compete for food, they compete for whoever gets to fuck the female and reproduce and shit. So why would we be different? You know, like why would we be like, oh no, everyone's equal, blah 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 blah. Like we're
Yeah, I
also
mean,
fucking aggressive animals, you know? Like come on.
yeah, like it's kind of like Jordan Peterson in his book 12 Rules for Life. He talks about the lobsters and how they have a dominance hierarchy, and he basically talks about how lobsters will like literally fight each other to the death, and whoever wins, like they become even stronger basically because of it. They get all the you know female lobsters, and they basically have this whole, and it's become a meme with him basically, you're calling him like the lobster lord or whatever. But he talks about these lobsters, and if they win, they basically they level up and they get stronger. But if like they lose, then their psyche immediately goes down the hill, and it basically these other lobsters that got beat, they'll be weak. They won't be able to do anything. They won't be able to fend for themselves, and they'll probably die early. And that's kind of like what happens with a lot of these people. And that's why I think we have a generation like this. Like they just kind of they have this whole perspective of just like everything sucks and I lose all the time, and then I didn't compete. I lose because I didn't compete, and that's kind of where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's fucked up. You know, it's fucked up. Like, um, I don't know. I don't know where this shit's gonna lead to. I've been saying this shit for many years now, and you know, like, if we don't like, if this shit doesn't change to an extent, like, there's like, she's gonna be a bunch of fucking pussies, fanboys, who are just like they want everything done for them and shit, and they're expecting. I don't know, man. I don't know, like, uh, like pretty women just have everything fucking handed
Well,
to
it's
them,
it's
and you got the women
it's like
that are not
now.
pretty, who are these extreme feminists who that have like against man and shit,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's ridiculous.
it's like MGTOW. Like, have you seen MGTOW? Like, do you know what I'm talking about with MGTOW?
Uh, Write it
It's
down
it's called.
because like I can't.
I don't know.
What have you?
It stands for men going their own way. So there's a lot of these
Oh
guys who like they've had bad experiences with women. Like they can't get a girl. Like they're basically a lot of them are just incels. Like they can't get girls, and
mm,
then because they can't get a girlfriend, they think that the world owes them like a girlfriend, and they
yeah.
they basically go like, oh man, like I'm just gonna go do my own thing. I don't really care about women, and then they go complain about women. Like they act like they don't care, but they really secretly they do. They're
Yeah.
like, oh man, those women are the worst. Like, some guy will come to a MGTOW group and be like, oh, my girlfriend dumped me the other day, like, and then all of a sudden they'll all get in a group and they'll be like, yeah, screw women, and then they basically get really mad about it, because they can't get laid, and they're just like, oh yeah, all those women suck. We don't need women. We're just gonna go our own way. We're just gonna do this thing, and we're gonna
And then
be
they
successful
fuck
or
each
whatever.
other in the
And
ass. Is that how it goes?
then what?
They fuck
Oh
each
well,
other in the ass
I
because they
mean,
can't. I
I
mean,
don't know.
you can't get women. What else are you gonna do? You know.
I mean, maybe it is 2021, so I
I
can't
mean, dude,
almost.
I'm not saying I'm nothing against it. You know, if you want to fuck someone in the ass, you get fucked in the ass. By all means, go ahead, buddy. But I mean, like again, if you don't, you know, if women don't fuck you, how are like just jerking off? I mean, this is what I do. It's what I do. You know.
But I
But
mean,
I
like
don't
they
consider. I do not consider myself an incel because um I'm not saying I'm a fucking catch or anything because I'm aware I'm not a catch, but many times, if like, I know places where you can sort of get someone to be at least on the internet to an extent. And I had a relationship with a Greek woman who wanted to come here to Portugal and stuff like that. So, I mean, to an extent, you know, it would be possible to do some penetrating stuff. But yeah, like Gabriel said, they would fuck each other instead of women. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but these people are like just online, so I don't think they meet any other person. They basically just live in their mom's
they're
basement.
all online. Okay.
Yeah. Like they go in their Facebook groups or their Discords, and they have like a MGTOW Facebook group or MGTOW Discord, and then they just that's what they'll do. They'll just go in there. They'll whine about women. They'll be like, "Oh, women are so terrible, man."
Okay. I have to say this. I think that a lot of incels, they're incels because they don't like, they're not willing to sort of go for women that are not like these fucking top models. So they just want women that are like fucking gorgeous and shit, and they're not willing to sort of give that away or something. Like, there's a lot, dude, there's tons of women out there who would fucking give everything for like a dude. And some dudes that consider themselves incels, they're like not really that bad looking either, man. They're not like, I'm not gonna say they're fucking handsome or anything, but they're not bad looking. Like, they're okay, you know, they're all right. Oh god damn it, fucking I don't have booze tonight, so gonna have to be water. But I do think, you know, it's like the same thing. Like, I feel like the same thing goes for women. You know, women that want those motherfuckers like, with massive like packs and those abs and shit. Fucking can like wearing a 6-pack. I usually like to say, you know, fuck the 6-pack. I got the whole keg. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I got the whole fucking keg, you know? Put your 6-pack up your ass. So, plus I can provide shadow when it's really hot. And a trampoline.
And it's like, I might be able to take one more bullet. It's like,
yes. And I can get knifed multiple times without immediately perishing.
But yeah, like, it's a lot of it. What is guys not understanding like what they are like they think they're like a 9 and that they're like a 6 really or whatever, and basically you just have to know what level you're on, and I mean that's why like you know, like obviously I'm not a 10 and my wife is not necessarily, I wouldn't, you know, like if we're gonna be objective,
dude, she better not listen to this. You better not tell her about this fucking thing, dude. Holy shit, man.
No. Being objective.
You're gonna sleep on the fucking couch tonight.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm screwed. But yeah, being objective. Like I personally, you know, think my wife is beautiful, but like, you know, a lot of other guys would be like, oh, you know, she's not like, you know, she's not like triple D's, you know, big booty, you know, whatever. It's like, so it's like, so you guys, you know, have that, but that's like, that's for reserved for the guys who are 10s or the guys who are rich. Basically, those are the two things. Is if you're a guy that's like a 10, or if you're a guy that's really rich, then you can kind of get those kind of you can get those kind of women. But it's like I knew like, okay, this is my lane. This is where I'm at. I'm not, you know, I found someone and just kind of like, okay, this is someone that likes me, and I can find someone to be happy with, and that's basically what it boils down to. Is I just kind of settle with it, you know, like settle. Okay. Like it's these guys that can't settle though. They can't settle like for like I need to have
a fucking relationship. You just need to sort of like, you need to connect with the person in a way that you're gonna be able to provide each other with enough fucking chemicals that you don't get tired of each other like within a fucking like year or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, because that's what I see happening a lot. And I also feel like a lot of times these really good looking women and shit, like these dudes get these women, and the relationships usually never last because they're so busy looking good that they don't like they're it's like dudes that go to the gym and all they think about is getting like fucking rich, you know, and they don't like focus on anything else but getting buffed and bodybuilding and shit. And they get to a point where their brain is all of that, like it's just fucking building muscle and building muscle, and they're so fucking stupid at that point that it's like, okay, you're a big motherfucker, but now what? You're stupid as shit because you didn't build the muscle that's inside of your skull.
Yeah, it's. I think that, you know, like to some, like, to give them credit, I think that a lot of times you have to have a singular mind and a singular purpose to get to that point. Like if I wanted to be really fit, I would probably stay in the gym for like 3 hours. But that's not my goal. I mean,
I'm not saying I'm not going against people who go to the gym. Okay, I just want to clear that out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying like if you go to the gym you're like, you know, rage motherfucker. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying those that do specifically go to the gym just like wanting to become a fucking like gigantic motherfucker. And then you have those that don't even do the gym and they just fucking inject their goddamn things with like fucking shit to just you've seen that Brazilian dude or whatever. He's got like fucking gigantic arms and then the rest of his body's like a fucking...
I think I saw this. He just like he shot up like the roids basically, and he had these big arms, and then you look at his body, it's like, oh
yeah, it's like
he looked like his like bigger than you, and it's like, how do you have those strong arms and look like this?
Yeah, let me see if I can find this thing. I think he's Brazilian. I think. Is it this guy? Yeah. It's this guy. Brazilian wimp injected himself with oil to become a beefcake with 23-inch biceps. He's known as He-Man or Hulk on the streets of São Paulo, Brazil. And it's like, yeah, he's fucking, this dude's 48 years old. And he's got like these massive fucking arms, but literally no. I mean, it says he's a construction worker, so he probably has some form of strength, like people that do like construction in that kind of job. That shit requires a lot of like, even if you don't look like a massive dude, you have a lot of strength. I've met a lot of people in those jobs and shit when I worked in factories and whatnot. They're can be scrawny looking dudes, but they're fucking strong as shit. So the dude probably has a little bit of strength, but like dude looks so fun. Like what kind of a woman would want to be with this dude? It's like,
I mean, I don't know. Like they'd have to be drunk out of their mind.
Holy shit, man! Like people do this stupidest shit that I don't know. His pecs look like actual boobs. That's just the craziest fucking thing ever.
He's got at least a C right there. I'm pretty sure, like at least C's.
Like, dude. Yeah.
I bet that makes some I bet that makes some women jealous. Even like,
in what
they're
way?
like they can't even have as big boobs as that guy.
Oh,
like, oh man, I got like A cups. Like I don't even have.
I guess. I guess some would be jealous of his boobs. It's crazy what people do for like looking a certain way they want to or some shit. And it's even crazier like the body withstands that shit, and
well, it probably doesn't. I bet he's sick very often. If I had to guess, or
Yeah.
like something has to go wrong there because there's no way you're injecting yourself with all this stuff and nothing goes wrong. I don't see it.
It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. But yeah, like I was saying, I've nothing against people who go to the gym. Like if you go to the gym to be healthy, and even if you want to be like a little bit big or some shit, like by all means, dude, do it. You know what I mean? I don't do it because I don't have gyms around. But like I said earlier, I used to go to a gym. It's not like I was, doing what I should be doing because there was like a little bit of it wasn't like a PT, but it's got a guy did PT work to an extent. And he said, "Oh, you're overweight, so you need to lose weight." And I was like, "Yep, okay." So I do like 15 minutes on a fucking treadmill or on the bike, and then because that's what my friends were doing as well. They just do a little bit of cardio to sort of get it going, warm up and shit, and then I just go for lifting and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I was doing cardio, but then I started, doing more lifting, like I said. So now I have one day, like today, I just did only cardio, but like every other day I do some sort of lifting, whether it be like I try to focus on each different body part. So you know, I do let's see, Monday I do legs, Tuesday I do my biceps and my back, and then Wednesday I do triceps and my chest, and then Thursday I do like abs and shoulders. So, and then I do cardio on Friday. So that's kind of like my strategy. I'm just working with. I'm trying to just try something different and see if I can get it work. But I just do an hour a day. Like that's what I do. I just go in there an hour. But I know some guys that are there and they do like 3 or 4 hours at least. And I'm like, these are the kind of guys that like what you're talking about. Like they just want to be like either big or whatever. Like they're just trying to be huge or whatever, and they're like those dude bros basically, just like, oh, and it's like, okay, dude, like you gotta
Sup,
chill.
bro? Sup,
Like
bro?
like they lose all their brain, but I like what I was saying is like if that's what your goal was, if you were like if I was going to be a bodybuilder specifically, then yeah, probably I do want to do that if that's my goal. But generally speaking, most people don't need to have that. I mean, you just need to exercise a little bit to be able to keep your maintain like to keep yourself from going to an early grave, essentially.
What if that's the goal? Go to an early grave.
Then just eat all the McDonald's you want. Just do, smoke, all this stuff. Like just do it all.
Yeah, so I'm doing it except for the McDonald's because that's where I live though. Like I literally live in a place where we don't have a gym. We don't have McDonald's
You
for
gotta
like
have a McDonald's.
60, 70, 80 kilometers without a McDonald's.
What?
Yep.
McDonald's literally post up everywhere. I know of like three McDonald's that I can make it to within
And
like
there wasn't
10 minutes.
but yeah, but that's America. McDonald's is American, so it makes sense that it's everywhere there. But over here, I mean, every single mall has a McDonald's in there. But outside of that, and it was until like what 2014 or 15, that's when they had a McDonald's in the nearest city, or not the nearest city, but yeah, it's like 80, 180, yeah, about 70, 80 kilometers to get there. So we live here, we eat a lot, but we eat relatively healthy over here. Like barely any junk food or anything like that. So
Yeah, the American diet is kind of a lot of junk a lot of times. So
yeah, I mean, You
And
can
that's
buy
probably why
like
we have a higher obesity problem, and that's probably why like coronavirus has affected like the U.S. a lot more, and I guess that's why a lot of people are on the edge because there's a lot of people who are just like morbidly obese, and they're like, if I get this, I may die. So I think that's kind of where it's at with a lot of people with the way that our diet has basically made a lot of people just morbidly obese because they can't put the fork down. They can't stop buying McDonald's. They can't get stop going to get the Starbucks latte or whatever.
I think the problem is because it's actually good. Like the food actually fucking tastes good, so like and it's fast, so why not? But yeah, in the long term, it's just a fucking. It's just it's like smoking. It's like a nail in the coffin as you go for it. You know.
Yeah. But I think more of it is like I think that our diet is a bad part of it, but I also think that there's a lot of people who just don't exercise at all here. Like maybe like you guys may have to like walk to the market or something like that, but there's a lot of a lot of people here, they'll just hop in their car, they'll drive to Walmart, which is basically our markets here, and then they'll drive to wherever they need to go. They basically never use their legs. They never get out, and they never really do anything.
Then they get
And
to
then they just
Walmart and they sit on those fucking little
sit on the, yeah, the
scooters.
scooters. They ride the scooter. I actually saw someone like I literally have seen someone like they were just like really big, like really overweight, and then they just go sat down, like they walked over to it, they hobbled over to it, and they just sat down in it, and I'm like, have you no shame? Like, do you even realize what you're doing? And they just kind of like they went about it. They didn't care. They didn't care that they
I've
were
seen
sitting in.
somebody in England using one of those things, but I've never seen that here in Portugal. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody so heavy that they need a scooter. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying is like normally you would feel shame like if you had to ride one of those things around, but there are some people who are just they're morbidly obese and they just don't care. They're just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna walk over to it and I'm gonna sit down in it.
Yeah. I think obesity is like I think it's okay to be like if you're okay with the way you feel or some shit like that, it's okay as long as you're not affected to an extent by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean by this is like as long as you can move around, as long as you can sort of like go around and do shit, like my circulation, my lungs, they're fucked. they're like completely fucking obliterated. But I can move around. I can, today I had to jump the fucking wall to go open the goddamn door for my neighbor. So, yeah, I can still do that kind of shit. But it's just the moment it becomes like a nuisance, and the moment you can't do shit, and the moment you can't fucking move and stuff, that's when I think you should start rethinking your priorities and going like, maybe I should start losing weight. I actually should start losing weight myself. I should start sort of doing some fucking what's it called, abs or whatever the fuck, like to work your abs or whatever. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, like a lot of it, what it is, especially I don't know, primarily in America, I guess, is that there are a lot of people who get told that it's okay. Like it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is that now you can't bully people for being fat or whatever, and so if you
Oh
say
yeah.
like, hey, you fat person or whatever, then like that's going to be offensive, and then
If you don't
then
fuck
you're
a fat woman, you're fat phobic.
yeah, that kind of thing. Like
uh,
the whole fat phobia thing. That's why, like, if you look at it, like, they put a massive, like, massively obese woman on the cover of an actual swimsuit, or like well, like a model magazine, like, for that is supposed to be for like the peak female form, like basically the peak woman like figure. And they put a massive God, if I could uh let me see if I can find this.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's what it is. They really have enshrined a lot of this.
so okay, remember there was a couple of videos and shit, um, a few years ago of like this couple and shit. Like the couple was actually legitimately, the dude was feeding the wife so much, like he literally wanted her to be as big as possible, and she was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, I'm just gonna eat and become even fatter. and like it was the I think it was the craziest fucking relationship I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too. Basically she was just like he was just like feeding her to get her bigger or something like that, and then she just kind of went along with it. Like this that doesn't make any sense. But like that what I just posted, like, yeah,
Yeah.
they take the like one of these like female magazines that's supposed to like represent like, hey, like this is what women should want to look like, and then they may put this massively obese woman on there because like plus size bodies or whatever. And now you can't call them fat. You have to call them plus size or whatever. All this kind of stuff. But if you just said like, "Hey,
I'm fat, I don't give
you
a
fat
shit.
lord,"
So
like, "Hey,
like,
you fat lord, get up and do something," it would be insulting, and that's like to these kind of people who are so soft, like we were talking about.
so
But like, I think
here's,
it's
in
good.
my
It's good.
opinion,
It's good for those kind of
here's the
people.
thing, because there's dudes who like big women, and there's nothing wrong with that, if you can find a dude, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
who, you're a big woman, like who gives a shit if you're enjoying yourself and whatnot, like, all right, cool. But if not, you can't, like, just like the way Gundam sort of covered the other on the other video, like they don't get fucked, and then they complain, and they call everybody that doesn't fuck them fat phobic. It's like, no, it's like the incel woman. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're not getting fucked, so you're complaining about men not liking to fuck you because you're fat
Yeah,
phobic.
so some of these people like basically they're the opposite of like MGTOW. Like they're the anti MGTOW. But well, they're like the women version of MGTOW basically. They're so like there's the incel, which are guys, and they're basically femcels, which are women who are like, oh, like I can't get laid, and then all of a sudden they just get upset about it. There's even the whole thing with like trans people who were upset about like, hey, like, oh, I can't get laid because if someone finds out that I that I am, and then all of a sudden they don't want it's like, oh, I'm so upset, and
Like,
then they
gotta
basically said like,
gotta
hey, why
accept
don't
it.
yeah.
Gotta accept. I mean, again, I don't think because you decided to go to another sex, or to change sex, I don't think, if
You're
I'm
not
not,
owed anything. You're not
yeah,
owed
like
anything.
it's not like it's not my duty to go and do um but I'm also 100% certain that there's a lot of people who are okay with that. I'm 100% certain there's a lot of people that are okay with that, and
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of women who are um transsexual, and I was like, wow, it's beautiful, so hey, you know not yeah, again, I don't think you should, like, I don't think any standard should be the standard for beauty, because, like, dude, this is all industry capitalization bullshit. you know.
Well, it's
Um,
just corporatized. Like there's a
yeah,
corporatized version, and then
yeah.
there's like the real life version, like real life beauty, and then there's like the corporate beauty, right? And
You
like
put
they're
a
yeah,
you
I mean,
put a
like you
fat
inject
woman on
the
a
woman.
magazine, and you're gonna have sell more food. You're gonna sell bigger clothes. You're gonna sell all that kind of shit, you know. And the skinny women, the sell them what, like fucking puke assistants. I don't know.
Yeah, it's but it comes down to this mentality that people think that they're owed something. A lot of people think that they're owed something, like they deserve it. And I mean, you know, that's basically what our generation has been taught is like they're owed something. And when they get it in their mind that they deserve it, like I like the like I said, the MGTOW guys, like they're like, I deserve a girlfriend because like every other guy can get a girlfriend. I deserve one, so I need one. And these women who are like morbidly obese and they can't get a guy, it's like I deserve a boyfriend. I you know I everyone else can get one. I deserve one, and it's basically what it comes down to is like they think that they deserve everything.
But they're not willing to fuck each other, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like, just put the MGTOW guys in the room. Put the fat chicks in the room.
You
And all of
know,
a sudden, just like
like,
little like here guys, you guys can have each other. I'm sure you'll love each other.
I mean,
Like
come on, like you're complaining about not getting a girlfriend or some shit. Yeah, there's one. They also can't get a boyfriend. So I mean, yo, you know.
they would probably then be so entitled to be like, oh well, I don't want that girl. I need a you know supermodel. You know, I need a 9 or 10. You know, like I need this chick that was on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, man, the world nowadays. What a beautiful place to live and be in. Woohoo!
The clown world that we're in.
It
It's just
really is a
funny.
fucking clown world. It's for sure. Holy
The
shit!
way I think about it is like I think about it every day. I'm like if I didn't laugh, I would just cry. Like because this is like it's depressing in a way, but it's also great to laugh at. Like it
True.
like you have to laugh at the hilarity of it all.
Yeah. Uh, it. I mean, you know that's where a lot of comedy comes from and shit. And I think that's where the good comedy comes from.
Yeah, like
Like
dark
when I
humor.
remember being in a course with like it was literally an entire course of dudes. Like there was not a woman. The only women that would be there would be like the teachers and shit. And it was like we'd be, you know, talking shit to each other all the time. We'd be like, fuck this, fuck that, you fat piece of shit, you ugly motherfucker, and whatever. And you're just man being man, you know, and like just men who are kind of friendly with one another, just doing their own fucking thing, you know, like it's not, you know. I don't know, man. I just this is how I feel about that whole situation. I just people are
Yeah,
too much of a pussy nowadays.
I mean, do you and like let people be most of the time. That's kind of my strat. It's usually
Yeah,
like
live and let
it,
live.
like if you want to do whatever you want to do, like just like you don't have to force anybody else to do anything else that they don't want to do. Like you can if you want, like if you wanted to be like if these MGTOW guys wanted to be with a hot cheerleader or something like that, then they would need to do something to actually try to get that. Like that they need to actually put in the effort. But they think that everything's owed to them, and they're gonna get it. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's like
just
you were saying, like, you know, society's fucked. That
pretty
everyone
much.
thinks they deserve things that they're entitled. It's just fucking pure entitlement.
I mean, I don't know if I know you follow It's a Gundam a lot, but like it's even this kind of like thing. It's a Gundam posted like even Twitter is trying to protect people. So like if you get a tweet with a lot of responses. They're trying to say like, heads up, things can get really heated whenever you're behind a screen. Think about the other
Really?
person on the other side. Yes,
Wow.
it's like, hold on, I could send you this tweet. Here.
I don't know how that feels like. I never had a fucking tweet that took off. I don't even know how the fuck you do that shit. I honestly don't even think. I don't think I care.
I get like 5 likes on a tweet, and I'm like, yeah, that was good. That was a good tweet. If I get 5 likes, I'm pretty happy with. It's like, oh, that's a good tweet. Five people liked it. I have technically like 1,000 followers, and 5 people will like one of my tweets. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny though.
You know.
But like Twitter is one of those things that it rewards people just being like um really crass. Like the more like crass you can be, like without going overboard, without being like a moron. Basically, if you just be snarky, like if you have a good snarky reply, people will retweet and quote tweet it or like it, all that kind of stuff. Basically, you just have to go for somebody who's a big target, like say if
Like
you
me?
wanted to go like Elon Musk, like you just go after like
Oh.
Elon Musk, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna reply to Elon Musk. Oh, look at you, Elon Musk, blah blah blah, or something like that. And then they get like thousands of likes just because they're going after Elon Musk, and they made some kind of snarky reply.
Yeah. That's the thing. I usually I just don't really bother with like tweeting at big things. I've tweeted a lot towards Overwatch and shit, and all I get is just fucking hate. People can't accept the different opinion, or somebody complaining about something legitimately. Like there was this one time, I remember, I believe Overwatch did this skin of Baptiste that was like, it was just, it's like a stone soldier or some shit, which is okay. It was for the Chinese New Year. It made sense. It's a thing. Blah blah blah. But it's still very effortless. It's very fucking effortless. It was literally just like the whole skin.
Like a reskin with the stone.
It's just a skin that it's like the whole fucking thing is gray with like dots on it because it's like representing stone. And I'm like, yeah, this is just lazy shit. I don't give a fuck if it's like, if it means something. Like, why are you telling me like you've ran out of Chinese things to reference and this is all you've got, like a fucking stone soldier? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like, the Chinese culture is very 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 vast and it's very broad, like for many centuries and shit. I'm pretty sure you could have grabbed something else, but I mean, okay. And people just like fucking blah 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 blah. And
Oh, why are you hating? It's
yeah. Another one, another fucking tweet. I this one was hilarious. Dead by Daylight posted. This was before the winter event. Blah blah blah, and some kid posts like a video of someone who basically they were brought down as a survivor by the killer, and they found this little spot they could wedge into, and the killer could not pick them up. I mean, it's a thing of the map, Yeah. And this kid goes and complains and complains and complains. Meanwhile, this kid takes a screenshot and he's using fucking stretched resolution, which it shouldn't be a thing in Dead by Daylight, but apparently you can change the resolution to whatever you want. So you can have a resolution of like ridiculous proportions where basically you can see like a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a really wide perspective.
Yeah. Where the normal, like the native resolution, you have like this perspective, but if you stretch it, you just can see like the whole fucking map, basically.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like it's one of the, like in my opinion, one of the biggest issues in coding for that game. But kid goes, it's so hypocritical because kids using stretched resolution complaining about someone who exploited something that they didn't even do. They just, it's a little spot I can get myself into, I'm gonna do it. Well, I would do the same thing. I'm pretty sure anybody would do the same thing. You know what I mean? So And then I just went on and I went on. And then I realized, okay, kid's 17, so this kid's entitled as fuck. And that's what he was. Literally, it's like a 17-year-old on Twitter, entitled as fuck. It's just because this kid was just calling everyone rich because they were from the Middle East. So they were like, oh, everyone's rich. You Americans and you Europeans, you're privileged. Everyone's privileged. You know, it's like, oh, yeah. There's no one in America or Europe is poor. Like, everyone in Europe is just privileged. And like, come on, dude, what the fuck? Once I realized the kid was 17, I was like, okay, you're 17. I'm not going to continue this shit. Have a good life. You're too entitled, and I'm just, whatever, dude. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with it though, because like whenever they're entitled, like the hard part is like you can't argue with anything, because if you bring any reason like, hey man, like maybe you should try to play the game right, or
if you're kind with them, they hate you, because they kind of like the little bit of like the spicing and shit. And then if you show them kindness, they're like, shut up, idiot. Fuck you. It's so funny.
Basically, if you don't come like straight, you know, like at them, if you don't like come for their throat, basically, just like come right out at them and attack them, then they basically like, then they'll be upset. They'll probably be upset that like, oh, somebody's attacking me, but they'll at least respect you a little bit. Like, they don't respect you if you reply to them like with a kind tone, I guess. Like, you're like, hey man, like you know, I know like things are hard or whatever. If you were trying to be like reasonable, they're just kind of like, oh man, you're so stupid, God, man, you're so dumb, whoa. Like, and then, but if you give them like a snarky reply, then they'll at least respond. They'll respond back in kind, of course, but they'll at least respect you in that way.
Yeah, that's what I did. I realized the kid was 17. Though. And I was like, okay, you're 17. I realize why you're being such a fucking prick, because you're entitled and shit. So, yeah. And the kid was like, fuck you, idiot. I'm like, okay, no, I already said have a good life, so I'm not going to reply, even though I want to, you know. But I hate how sometimes I respond. I'm just so impulsive and shit. Like, sometimes I'm playing Overwatch and somebody starts, like, you know, giving me shit or something. I lose my shit. And I wish I didn't. I wish I just kept my composure and I kept it cool, because I'd be the better man in that situation. Like, I mean, you're arguing with most likely you're arguing with a kid that's just like, they've been playing games for like their whole fucking life, and she's just like sitting there, you know, playing Overwatch. They think they're fucking fantastic. Like the way happened one day, and this kid was just like, oh, I'm carrying. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean you're carrying? You've got like owned like 3 times by the fucking enemy Hanzo, dude. And it was like, oh, shut up, dude. I got these eliminations and this damage. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Yes, you're carrying, you know. Fuck you. But yeah, I just wish I kept my composure, I guess, you know, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to like let it go though. It's like, so at some point, even like me, like when I get in arguments, like my wife would be able to tell you, like I don't want to let go. Like, there's sometimes like I could drop it, like I could just let it go. But I don't know. There's just something in me. It's like no, I've gotta win. Oh no. But I'm just like I could just let it go, and I could let it be and just kind of be done with it. But for me, it's like, no, I'm right. I have to win.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I'm the same way. Like, it's most likely a result of the way we were raised and the way we're sort of like the way the environment molded us to just be like that. Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact, like me personally, I was very like some things I had people saying like, oh yeah, you're good, you know, like as a vocalist, as a death metal vocalist, I had a lot of people say like, yeah, you're pretty good death metal vocalist. But like other things I focused myself, or I focused towards and shit towards towards
Two words.
like, yeah, people would just like be like, whatever, or whatever. And that's one of the things that happens with like games and shit. Like when you see these people, you know, being like, you know, you're doing a lot and stuff, but no one really gives you recognition or anything. That feels bad. Like feels like you're not being, you know, no one's paying attention to whatever you're doing. Even though you're not being this dipshit who's like, oh, I'm carrying you guys, you're welcome. You know, you're just doing your thing, you're playing your game and shit. I guess sometimes that's what you gotta do, man. I guess sometimes it's what you gotta do. Like, I've come to the really fucking realization that if you stand in your corner and you just pretend to be the nice guy, or if you're actually the nice guy, no one gives a fuck. You know, like literally nobody gives a fuck. And if you go like the extra mile and shit, and you're like, yeah, dude, this, that, and that, and blah blah blah, and you're loud and you're annoying and shit, people pay attention to you. So, yeah. So maybe we have to start being loud and obnoxious, and you know, not being the corner hidden in the dark.
Anyways, start being the biggest prick on the planet. Just to
it works though.
Yeah,
apparently fucking works. But yeah, 3 minutes left. I guess we could say, you know, where people can find us and shit. I just want to say, if you guys want to watch this on Twitch, we got like a dedicated channel now on Twitch. It's literally Maze of Thoughts. That's about it. And you know, you can follow it. You can watch it there. And we also got the Vim, but Vim is my personal channel, so I wouldn't watch that because it's just garbage besides the podcast. So yeah. Yeah, you can find all my shit at eldritchpixty.me. So kick it, Trey.
Yeah, I post them all, link in the chat. Basically, you know, you can follow me on Twitter, Vim, Twitch, and I've got a couple of YouTube channels. I'm gonna have some videos coming out on that probably tomorrow. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on the Maze of Thoughts episode 7. I have to post episode 6 still because like I said, I've been slacking this week like a dipshit. It's been very cold and stuff, so you know, sometimes I just want to lay in bed and just yep. Outside of that, thank you very much. You know what I mean? Nice reverse psychology. It's not even reverse psychology because nothing happens. Like if I say that, nothing fucking happens. I wish it did. I wish I was able to do that, but nothing fucking happens. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Stick around for what is it, joculation. And yeah, so see you guys on the next week for episode 8. And we're gonna have a special one next week. We're gonna have a good time. We're not gonna be doing like sad fucking topics. We're just gonna be talking about Xmas shit, and we're gonna discuss some deep stuff. We're gonna go deep into like Xmas shit. So, if you guys want to be there, I'm probably gonna be drunk as fuck. So, yep. Trey's gonna be drunk as well.
No, definitely not. Maybe the eggnog.
Fucking eggnog, okay. Alrighty then. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. Peace.